What up, y'all? Your boy TheSaurus here with some pretty good news. I played the 250 buy-in, 125k guaranteed Venetian Superstack event today and bagged an absolute pile of chips to go into day two. Excuse me. Got a little choked up because I was so fucking excited. Started with a 20k starting stack, ended up bagging 212,500 chips. We are about twice average stack. The big blind coming back into play is going to be 500 ante, 2k, 4k small big blind. So we've got a little over 50 big blinds, comfortably above the chip average, probably bagged a top 10 stack for the day, and really happy with my play overall. Definitely going to do another update once day two comes around on Friday, let you guys know how everything goes, and hopefully I'm making a final table appearance when that takes place. But yeah, it was a pretty slow start to the day for the most part, and then had really just like two heaters, both at separate points of the tournament, like 10 levels of, or maybe 7 levels apart from each other, that really just set me up. I was pretty much hovering around like between the 20 and 30k mark for most of the day, and then everybody folded around to the button when I was in the small blind. The button had been the most active player at our table to this point. He opens, I want to say blinds are like 3,600, something like that. It might have even been more than that. It might have been 4,800. He opens, yeah, I think they were more. I think he opened for 2K, so they must have been 4,800. And then I made it 53 from the small blind with ace jack of clubs. This big blind folded. The button asked how much it was and then quickly called. Super loose player, so when he calls, I am pretty confident that not only am I ahead, but I probably have him absolutely smashed. He opens and calls with a lot of weak aces, a lot of like mediocre Broadway hands, just sort of middle of the road hands, and it's very tough for him once he put money in the pot to then fold afterwards. So we have the ace jack of clubs. We 3-bet against his button open. He flats. Flop comes ace, queen, 5, spade, spade, club. So top pair and the backdoor club draw. Obviously, I love the flop, and I know that we have the best hand at this point. I think I c-bet 4,800 because I remember betting less than my 3-bet amount was when I bet the flop, and then he just snapped shoves for 40k. He had me covered by like 7k. He just snapped shoves for 40k, and before he could even finish saying all in, I had already beaten him into the pot, and he just looked so deflated. He rolls over the old Jack 10 offsuit, so he has a gutter ball for Broadway. Turn a river, brick, brick. We double right there. Then literally the next hand, we pick up 2 kings. Somebody open shoves for like, oh wow, blinds must have been bigger. Blinds must have been like 816k, because then maybe 612k, because then the next hand, so it goes open and then somebody just shoves for 20k. I have 2 kings, so I obviously call, and or no, my bad, they shoved for 15k. So blinds must have been like 501k, something like that. Anyways, I snap, obviously, with kings. They hold. Next hand, I get 2 aces, and the same guy who had Jack 10 ends up going bust to me. He had Queen Jack offsuit. Whatever, pretty irrelevant. Then we had an absolute pile. We had like 90k at 1k big blind, or maybe it was 1,200 big blind by the time we finished counting our 90k. And then we table changed and went on a bit of a downslope, ran into like the chip leader of the entire tournament, who just couldn't miss anything, and we lost like a 40k pot against him. We had 2 aces. Blinds were 6,100. I opened for 31 with 2 aces. I had him to my immediate left, and he'd been calling everything, so I made my sizing a little bigger than normal. He flats. Flop comes king jack 9, 2 clubs. I actually checked under the impression that I have the best hand, but I'm also not. I sat down at the table with 80 bigs. This guy had over 200 big blinds to my immediate left. Nobody else on the table has me covered. I have like 3x average of chip stack of the tournament, so I'm not necessarily trying to play a gigantic pot out of position, especially with just one pair on 9 jack king, 2 clubs. I have the ace of clubs, though, which is nice. I check. He bets 3,100, so he made it the same amount that I made it pre. I call very confidently. Turn is a jack of clubs. Really bad card for us in a lot of ways, but also not the worst because we do have the nut blocker. Anyways, so now the board reads king, jack, 9, jack with 3 clubs. it goes check, check. So at that point, I was pretty sure that I probably had the best hand. River comes an offsuit 4, doesn't complete anything. I check again because, A, if I am behind, or even if I'm not behind, I don't want to inflate the pot like ridiculously or set myself up for a position where I'm going to get raised off of maybe the best hand if he thinks that a king-queen is good or an ace-king is good, or even if he just thinks that I have a weak hand because I didn't bet the flop or the turn. I didn't really show much interest in the pot after opening pre. Aces are super under-repped, but he just bets 10K on the river, and I snap call and he turns over 8-5 of clubs, which is super annoying. So, ended up losing, it was like a 37K pot, something like that, including the blinds and annies. Then, facing like a 9 big blind shove, we were in the big blind with king-queen. King-queen's a very standard call for a 9 big blind shove, or against a 9 big blind shove. We call, he has ace-3, and he just flops a wheel. So we go down to like under 60K, and then we were basically card dead for like the next 3 or 4 levels. Gets to last level of the night. Blinds are 500 ante, 1500 3K, small blind, big blind. We have 34,000 chips. And ended up bagging 212K. Basically all from 2 hands. Actually 3 hands. It folded around to me on the button. I open shoved my 34K with ace-jack. Got it through, so I padded my stack to like a little over 40K. And then the most aggressive player at the table who had all the chips was opening maybe 60% of the time. He opens from the low jack. I'm in the hijack with ace-10 of hearts, so I shove with my 42K or whatever it was at 3K big blind. So I have 14 bigs, pretty standard spot, especially against somebody who's opening as much as him. And he calls. He has 2 sevens. He ends up calling my shove. I was actually kind of surprised that he called, but very happy to just see a hand that I'm flipping with. We flop an ace. Boom, we're good. 4 or 5 hands go by. Actually, yeah, 3 or 4 hands go by because he's in the small blind, I'm in the big blind, same orbit. Everybody folds around to him at 3K big blind. He makes it 10,500 from the small blind. I look down at 2 kings, which is awesome. I make it 28K. He thinks about it for a second and then flats. He has like 200,000 to start the hand. I had maybe not, a little under 90, something like that. I make it 28,000. Probably had over 90, actually. I make it 28. He calls the additional 18K, or whatever, 17.5 that he needs to. Flop king 9-7, 2 clubs, so we flop top set. He checks. I bet 28K again. He calls pretty much without even hesitating, so I'm thinking there's a chance he's on a flush draw, maybe a straight draw like Jack 10 or something like that if he's got a double gutter. Just hoping for like a brick turn, and we're going to get all the money in, obviously. And we get a brick turn. We get turn as like an offsuit 3. He checks. We bet our remaining 42,000. So yeah, then we had 98K to start the hand. Bet our remaining 42,000. He thinks about it, asks for a count, then calls with Queen Jack offsuit. So all we had to do was fade 4 outs. River paired the board. We make kings full. Next thing you know, we're at like 190 something K. And then we opened with jacks. He defended from the big blind. This was like an orbit later, and we ended up scooping like another 20K pot with just jacks unimproved. So we are bagging twice the average stack. Day 2 is Friday. I will keep you guys updated. I am hoping to crush this. I just want to say thanks, everybody, for the support, the positivity, for having my back, for wishing me well, and always wishing me like good luck and good fortune in these tournaments. It is endlessly appreciated. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm super lit. I just got a new vape pen, and I'm trying it out. The Yocan Evolve Plus. I recommend anybody on their vape game to mess with Yocan products. Wax vape, obviously. I don't care if you're vaping tobacco. But if you're wax vaping, I'd recommend Yocan products. I think you should look them up. Even on eBay, they send products for so cheap. Free shipping, and the pens are second to none. Anyways, part 2 of this blog will be coming Friday night, I guess. I'll let you guys know how it goes. Really hoping to final table this thing, end the year with a really nice score, and I think there's a few more birds in this Venetian series going like all the way into the first week of the new year. So I hope you guys are looking forward to a lot more updates. Holla. Peace. 2 times.